A woman who fled from authoritarianism in Nigeria for freedom in the United States says she thinks Joe Biden would bring socialism and ultimately communism to America. She said that if that happens, people like her will have nowhere to escape to.
Very many communist nations have come to the United States of America in search of the same freedom and liberty. But unfortunately, the place that they are running to, that we all came to for a difference, is about to be taken away from us too. Where else are we going to go? To the moon? To Pluto? To Mars? There's nowhere else to go. America is the only place that we all can come to.
She said she supports President Trump because he protects American freedom and stands up to communist and authoritarian regimes like the one she fled.
And that's why what President Trump is doing is great, because it is only President Trump that can stand up to China. It is only President Trump that can stand up to the Communist Party, in China. President Trump is not afraid to look them in the eye and tell them to free the people of China. And that's what President Trump is trying to do. Biden is not going to do that. Biden is not going to fight for the people of China. Biden is not going to fight for the future of China, of the Chinese people. Biden is going to fight, he's going to support the Communist Party of China. Indirectly or directly, mark my words.
When this biker for Trump from Ohio was asked why he came to the rally, his answer was very simple.
The Constitution of the United States. Our Constitution is the highest law of the land, and we're here to make sure that the Constitution is followed.
He said he's not a Trump supporter, a Republican, or a Democrat. He's a constitutional American. He said presidents come and go, but it's the Constitution that remains and needs to be protected. Reporting by Grace Coulter, NTD News.
And today, Jefferson City also held a Trump rally. The supporters gathered to share their perspectives on the importance of a transparent election. NTD's David Young has the story.
Trump supporters from Jefferson City in Missouri came out to support the president this Saturday. That amid the Trump campaign's multiple allegations of potential voter fraud. One supporter compared the possibility of an unfair election to getting robbed.
We just demand a country that's free and not subject to being manipulated by fraud and theft. We won't allow it.
He says he wants a full audit for the sake of the American people.
The polling places that were closed to the observers, if you look at the cards that are, the drives that are showing up with additional votes, opportunities to reload ballots that have already been used, mail-in votes, no IDs required, no signature verifications, and all of this is orchestrated on the key battlestick places. It just looks like it was planned and coordinated.
He added the election protocol needs to improve.
It sounds very odd to me that we're using election voting systems that were originated from Venezuela.
The 2020 presidential election saw controversies surrounding vote integrity. The Stop the Steal movement was born to protect counting legal votes. A father of three told us if recount happens, Trump would win.
Yeah, and I have no doubt if we redid the election and had only actual legal voters vote, it'd be a landslide victory for Trump. No doubt in my mind.
And explained to us why he supports the president.
Like I said in the beginning, he's pro-God, he's pro-life, he's pro-freedom, individual liberty. Like I said in the beginning, he's pro-everything that's good and everything that's right.
Another attendee expressed love for liberty in America and asserted that freedom is at danger.
Well, I love this country more than anything. This country means everything to me. And to see our freedom being destroyed and the Liberty Tree is dying.
I'm going to try to hold myself together, not get emotional here, but I want to harken back to your statement about Georgia.
Yeah.
And about the Trump voter.
Yeah.
And they should be very afraid, very afraid. Trump and you are all we have left, Rush. We've spent our lives voting for these people because they're not them. And we just can't do it anymore. We're tired of being stabbed in the back, Rush. It's better to have an enemy that's in front of you than a friend that's behind you that's just going to stab you. They do it every time. We have a Republican-controlled state, and they won't do an audit of the vote. They won't. They just basically told every Georgian that they don't care. We were in Washington on Saturday. Me and my 33-year-old son, we more people than we've ever seen in our lifetime, ever. And we're season ticket holders for the Ravens, for God's sake. I've been in crowds of 80,000 people. I've been to Steelers games, for goodness sakes. I have never seen so many people, but were there any Republicans there? No. None. But
wait. What? There were no What was this thing that you went to?
A week ago Saturday in Washington, D.C., the mega rally. There must have been hundreds of thousands.
Okay, it's a MAGA rally, and you mean no elected Republicans? Is that what you mean?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Our party leadership, quote unquote, if this were a Democrat rally, they would all be there. They were there for the anti-Tea Party movement, walking hand in hand up the steps. No one stands for us, Rush. Only you and Donald Trump. God forbid. What do we have left? I love my president. I am not a revolutionary, Rush, but I will die for my president. This man has given more to this country than anybody, and he has no need to. None. He's a billionaire. He doesn't need this.
That's exactly right.
It's disheartening.
Test, but this is how the left is winning in America. Okay, they have media and celebrities behind them, and they have social media behind them. And if you try to speak up and have your opinion on social media, guess what happens? Click, you're banned.
Yep.
Click your social, click. That's against our terms of service. The biggest thing is this: when decentralized, blockchain-based social media comes, and it is coming. These people, the Facebooks, the Twitters, the Instagrams, all this centralized shit, this popularity will eventually come to an end. Everything will head to a decentralized platform because these guys are pissing off.
This is that one of the reasons why we have done this to systematically emasculate men is sort of it's a governmental control. You could make that issue. You could make that case, but it's also we are actively disadvantaging men to advantage women. And the way we do that is we take away their testosterone. We cut the teeth out of conventional masculinity. One of the things, and I think maybe Rich remembers this. Rich, do you remember that part in Alpha God where he was describing the Catholic priests who would go across from like Spain into like the New World, into like South America and stuff. And the first thing that they would do with the tribes that were over there is they would emasculate the men in those tribes. Yep. They would find ways to turn the men into women, like literally make them dress up as women, make that like cut their like in some cases cut their balls off, kill the ones who were not compliant, and emasculate the ones that were willing to go along with it, so that the Spaniards or the invading tribe, let's just say, was going to be the most masculine men that this old tribe could ever get with. It's almost like taking the global sexual marketplace and putting it into a local sexual marketplace, but in a time when we had to sail across, the Atlantic to get to actually some poon. To get some poontang, right? So the first thing that they did to sort of conquer that particular tribe was to emasculate the men that were in that. And I think that really we can see a parallel of that right now, because what's happened and what Myron was saying just a second ago is that the reason why these guys are soft is because they think they can be soft. Is because they don't see the machinations, like the strategy and the design behind all of this. Because what happens is then you get a guy like Elijah Woods who says, well, masculinity can be whatever you want it to be. And it's not being a man. Manhood is not just about masculinity. It's about something else. He's never clear about that. And the reason I keep bringing him up is not because he's a hobbit or because he's Elijah Woods. It's because that is the prevalent mindset right now of his generation and the generations that come after him. And sadly to say, probably the boomer generation, Gen X, Gen Y, and everything else, to varying degrees, depending on how far they are away from the sexual revolution. So what happens is these guys are raised and brought up like we raise our boys as if they're defective girls. Part of that raising is to teach boys, first of all, not to be their own mental point of origin. And then second of all, that masculinity is whatever they want it to be. You can be the pretty princess, little Johnny, and you can have women, and the princess can save you as the prince, right? That's the whole gender bender, reverse the narrative thing that Disney and Pixar has been doing for a very long time. So you get a generation of these kids, of these boys who don't know what manhood is. They do, because it's subjective. It's whatever I want it to be. And so they end up being confused. They end up getting fat. They end up becoming soy boys. They end up becoming Elijah Woods, who get really offended when someone like Candace Owens or whatever from a TradCon different generation or a different mindset says we need to bring back manly men. Well, they get really upset about that because they don't know what manhood is. They don't know. They have a really tough time. And John will say this too, is they have a really tough time understanding and relating with other men. That's why they crave it right now. That's why we have this Lost Boys generation right now. And so these guys are looking for answers. They're looking for that conventional definition of what manhood actually is, because they didn't have fathers and they probably didn't have grandfathers that taught them that, because they are the sons of betas who were also the sons of betas themselves. And so when somebody comes along and says, real men do this, real men take care of their kids, real men love Jesus, real men do whatever, like, and Candace Owens is saying this, we need, real men, let's bring back manly men. What is that? Well, she's not going to be able to tell you, but if she did tell you, that definition is something that most guys in this westernized gynocentric female correct society don't understand. So when you say, I have the merit badge, I have the manhood certificate here, and if you marry a single mommy, then you're a real man. And here's your certificate for being a real man. And so manhood becomes a commodity for guys who don't know what manhood actually is or what masculinity actually is. And they need someone to tell them a real man is a cuckold. A real man takes care of another man, the parental investments of another man. And I'm a single mommy with 3 kids from 2 different fathers. And you're not the stepdad. You're the dad who stepped up. That's one example of guys getting that manhood merit badge. And so therefore we have this generation after generation of guys who are either they're confused or they hate masculinity. They hate anything that seems like conventional masculinity, because as Paul was saying, they hate it because it is not a key, or it's not, they see it as not identifying with the feminine. And if they don't identify with the feminine, if they don't go along with female correctness, they're never going to get laid. We're never going to score. We're never going to score. That's how you go.
An actual conservative sticks up and fights against the libs. And I'll tell you what, he only did one mistake in this video, but I give him a 9 out of 10 with the performance. Check this out. So there he is. Guy's hitting him. Guy has a baton, a steel baton he's trying to beat him with. Boom.
Ooh, stiff.
One shot KO, stiff. But he screwed up because he didn't punch the chick after.
Yeah, okay. I was just thinking that same thing. Like, he has it coming to her.
Look at her. Look at the stupidity and the audacity of this woman.
That scrawny broad.
If I saw this guy, I'd be like, I need to stab this guy. If I'm fighting him, like, I have to stab him. That's my only path to victory here. Stab him or take him down and choke him out. But this is what happens again. Hit him with the baton. Boop. No, thank you, sir. And look at her. Look at her. Try to strip the weapon from him. He's like, listen, bitch. Listen, I will bitch slap you all the way back to your job at Starbucks.
She got a cigarette in her hand.
God.